Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. My name is Amber and today I am going to talk about some creepy occurrences, and guess what? The woods again. It seems that here, because we have so much wilderness and a lot of our original settlements, our original towns, and that kind of thing have all been abandoned and returned back to nature. The area just is charged, but also charged because, these places did exist and that kind of thing. And so the woods are just a really good place to go if you're looking to go ghost hunting here, because a lot of our buildings have either been restored into something else, so you have to get permission from the businesses, or they are personal homes, or they're so dilapidated that you just don't want to risk hurting yourself while you're there. Now, this one was actually told to me back in high school, and it is a story that has always stuck with me, just because I thought it was so odd. So what happened was, one of the guys in my class had gone out camping with his family, which is something that most of us do here all the time, and that's not a strange thing. And a lot of experiences happen in the woods, especially when you're camping and you're least expecting it. Now, his story we all thought was kind of dumb at the beginning because it was a little just too overfabricated in our view. We were all in high school and just trying to scare each other, and so we all just kind of figured oh, this is just him trying to make something up, and we just didn't really think anything of it aside from, oh, it's a creepy tale, until we actually got proof that it happened. So he went out camping with his family, and they went out closer to the border between here and the United States. And they were doing their thing, having a campfire, telling ghost stories and what have you. And his dad, I believe, made a comment that he could hear something moving around in the bush. And so everybody kind of thought, oh, well, maybe it's a bear, maybe it's a sheep, maybe it's, some animal. We have tons here. It wouldn't be strange. Could have been a moose for all they know. And so they're waiting for this thing to emerge, and it doesn't happen. And a little while later, they're sitting around the campfire, and they're all talking and having a good time. And he gets up to go to the bathroom. So, like any normal and courteous person, he gets up, walks away from the campsite to go further into the bush and go to the bathroom. And he looks up, and probably about 50 or so yards in front of him, there's a person there. And not just a person, but a head. Yeah, like a full-on just no body head walking through the trees. And then he kind of thought it was really odd, didn't really want to say anything, did his business, went back to the campsite with his family. Then his dad later on went out, came back, and said, I think we're not alone here. His dad then elaborated on what he had seen, and he had also seen a head floating through the trees, but it was more than one. So there was a couple heads floating through the trees. At this point, they were all a little on edge that it was just heads and they weren't seeing bodies, and they thought, well, maybe it's just the angle we're seeing from. Maybe it's just, there are the bodies there, but there's a tree blocking it, or we're just not seeing it properly, or it's too far away, so it just looks muddied in the bushes, whatever. So they just had no real explanation for it. And then they went to sleep that night. after concluding that they were probably just alone and everybody was just like, it was whatever. Maybe there were some other hunters out there and they hadn't seen the tracks going in or what have you. And so they all get up the next morning and it's early, it's cold, it's foggy, and they look up again as they're coming out of their camper, and again, there are heads coming through the trees. Again, everybody else freaks out. By the time they figure out where it kind of is that they're seeing all of these things, they can't find any evidence of anybody being there, so to speak. At this point, they're all super creeped out. They decide that they're coming back. And so then he comes back and he comes to school that week and he tells us about all of this happening. And, you know, all of my other friends are making fun of him, being like, dude, you're just, you know, crazy, whatever. You're just seeing things. And for quite a while, he thought he really had just imagined this happening and that it was something so unnatural that had occurred to him. And so then he actually went home that day and talked to his dad, and I guess his dad was feeling the same way about all of this happening and was just really uneasy, really concerned about the fact that these people were there, but they weren't there, and they didn't make contact, they didn't say anything, like it was very obvious that they knew that they were in the area, and just all of this other stuff. So his dad had actually been doing research all day to try and figure out if there was an explanation for it and asking people if they had heard of anything or if they'd seen anything. And it came down to the fact that, so it turns out that they were actually there at the same time that the US military was actually doing training missions in the bush there using what they call invisible suits. So what they figure is that when they were seeing just these disembodied heads, they were actually seeing when the soldiers had taken the hood part of that suit off. So that's why everything else was unseeable and just their heads remained. Now, why haven't we heard about the fact that the military had this technology? Because, I mean, keep in mind, I graduated in 2011. So this was like way before that. This was like 9 years ago that this story was being told. So why didn't we know that this technology was a thing? B, why would nobody acknowledge the fact to have the decency to be like, hey, just so you know, like, so you're not a little creeped out, we're over here practicing. No? Not anybody? Nothing? I think what even freaks me out the most about this is that as I was actually getting ready to do this video, I was talking to my roommate and she actually expressed how she had seen the same thing, but it was not military practices. So just thinking about the fact that disembodied heads floating through the woods is actually like an occurrence is really, really, really terrifying. And I don't ever want to encounter a disembodied head in the bush when I know there should be no people there at all. If you guys have had any experiences or know anybody who's had experiences like this, please leave a story in the comments below. I would love to read any and all experiences that you guys have had. If you liked what you saw today, please give this video a thumbs up, as it makes me super happy when you do that. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell, because I upload a video 3 times a week. That's right, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I will be bringing you a new story to chill your bones. So yeah, I think that's it for me for today. But until next time, bye guys.